That's what it's all about, man. They said money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you. Yeah, money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah, we ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you.
Hey, it's Jason Calacanis. We're doing a special episode of This Week in Startups live from the Googleplex. I'm here at the Crowdsortium event talking to companies that do crowdsourcing. And one of those companies is Lukas's company. Lucas, we met back in 2000-something at the TechCrunch 50 conference, the second year, and you had CrowdFlower, which was an interesting little company that had a beautiful interface for creating jobs for people online. Little tasks, sort of like Mechanical Turk.
Exactly, yeah.
So tell me, what is the mission of the company today, and what are you doing?
So we help companies take simple, repetitive tasks, the kinds of things that you might traditionally outsource, like verifying business listings or categorizing content. And we take those simple, repetitive jobs and we send them all around the World Wide Web, so anyone can log into various sites and do useful work.
So an example of that would be some company wants to verify that this phone number at the local pizzeria works, and that this is their actual address, and the person on the other end actually calls that business
They
and
do.
says, is this your address? And then you give them, what, $1?
So we might give them cash, we might give them game points, which you'd be surprised how many people really want.
People are addicted to the Bejeweled and the Farmville, I hear.
That's right, yeah. And we also work with sites that do e-rewards type things, so they might make airplane miles or pay down their phone bill or...
Interesting. So they do. You have to find people who need work done. Then you have to find some kind of currency and then match them.
Exactly.
And so, how do you match them? I mean, does the person from the airline miles company care about issuing more miles? What's their goal? And then what's the goal of the person on the other side? And do they care how they're matched, or do they just care that the task is done?
So we have two parts of the business, right? On one hand, like you said, we find companies that want lots and lots of work done right away, right? That they want to hire 10,000 people in an hour, right? That's what we're really good at.
Wow.
And we do over 3 man-years of work a day. So it's
3
man-years of work every single day.
3 man-years of work a day. Wow, human years.
Human years, I guess.
You have to stop using
my bad.
gender-specific language. It's okay. It's like a whole generation of people stopping using man-hours and firemen and saying
people years.
Firefighters. Go ahead.
So so on one hand we find those companies, right? And at the same time we find companies that have lots of people that they're having trouble monetizing. Right, so a game company might have all these users that don't necessarily want to enter in their credit card information.
They don't want to buy the points.
To buy 50 cents of points. I mean, you can understand that, right?
Yeah, sure.
And so
especially kids.
Especially, well, maybe kids.
Oh, right, you're not allowed to employ kids. Well, you actually don't know if you're employing kids, do you?
Well, we do some things to try not to employ kids,
but the truth is, people don't actually have to verify who they are. They just have to perform the task.
That's true. So and so the key to making it all work, and the reason we're a technology company instead of like a staffing company, is making sure these people actually do a good job, right? As you well know.
Make sure that they just say like, yeah, that's the right phone number.
Exactly.
So what do? You have 2 people do it, and then you compare the result?
But we have to do it in real time too, right? So we have to have 2 people do it together in real time, or one person check it really fast, or we hide in results, or we know what the answer is.
To see if they're gaming.
Exactly.
So we both look at the same picture, and you say, what colors are this photo? And they say, oh, blue and pink and red.
Exactly.
And then if somebody else says it's orange, there's no orange in the photo, you know that person's a bad actor?
That's exactly right.
Huh, interesting. And the legality of crowdsourcing, we hear a lot of talk about, oh my God, you're employing people, but what you're doing, these little tasks, it doesn't feel like employment. What is the average session that somebody works with you? Do they work 5 hours? Do they work 5 minutes?
Well, it tends to be shorter. I mean, a lot like games, right? Where people come in for 15 minutes, go away for an hour, come back for another 15 minutes.
Right.
And what I really love about this business is we're letting people turn those little bits of time they have throughout the day into useful
but
work.
do you personally think it's work, or do you think it's just like a little diversionary task to earn some minor reward, like going to an amusement park? To me, it seems like you go to an amusement park, you give them $1 to fill up the with the water gun and burst a balloon or something. Like, it feels like it's not work.
So maybe work's the wrong word, but I really want to emphasize that it's useful stuff, right? We're not doing surveys. We're not doing like lead gen, secretly like taking down people's credit cards. We're actually we're making the world better with like useful projects.
Right.
So
these are grand scale projects, like some of the search engines, like perhaps even Google's search engine uses these things, do you think, or Flickr's to identify and tag photos? I hear that one a lot. Do people actually use that search engines?
So we work with most of the big technology companies.
Really?
But unfortunately, none of them will let us use their name publicly.
So if I said Facebook, Google, Yahoo, and Microsoft, you could say with some degree of certainty that you might have worked with one of those.
Yes.
Okay. So now if I said these three companies, well, let's start crowdsourcing it down. And so those big companies say, hey, we just want to get a lot of stuff done. Can you just make our search engine better? Can you look for fake accounts? What kind of jobs do they come to you with?
So the kinds of jobs tend to be cleaning up databases. So it tends to be, verifying business listings is the most common thing we do. So like,
because local's exploding.
Everybody
wants a piece of the pie.
And these guys that generate the local listings, like Info Group and others, aren't used to such a high demand for quality. So we can get really, really high quality, whereas they might only check the data like once a year or once every couple of years.
Interesting.
But I would say the number two is probably classifying e-commerce listings. So like every company that has a big database of stuff, they want to tag it and classify it in different ways.
So I'm an Amazon, or they have Mechanical Turk, and which is actually, was that the reason why they created Mechanical Turk, was to do their own crowd stuff? They typically do build things for themselves, right?
Yeah, I suspect that's why they.
A lot of talk about the people who spend, let's say, more than the time your people spend, 3, 4, 5 hours a day doing some of these things. Only making $1 or $2 an hour, which in the United States seems like predatory, but in other countries is probably above the average wage. How do you, as a founder of one of these companies, look at a global marketplace where, $2 an hour or $3 an hour in Manila might be the best paying job? In the United States, it's not legal. How do you look at the global nature of this?
Well, personally, I think globalization is a great force for good. It certainly has problems, but...
why is it a force for good?
Well, I just talk to the people doing work through our system,
right,
and they love us. I feel like we sit in Silicon Valley being like, oh no, these people have, we're only paying them $2 an hour and it's boring.
Right.
And not even always $2 an hour. People can make a lot more
right
through the system if they're smart and effective.
Right.
But whenever I feel bad about the company, or because whenever I'm feeling bad, I call a few workers.
Being an entrepreneur is it can be bipolar or something.
Yeah,
you feel like
know.
you're taking over the world,
and so
it feels like you're being defeated.
And so you find those things, right, to like snap you out of it.
Yeah, little victories.
Yeah, exactly.
You gotta celebrate.
And for me, I call a couple workers and it's like, how's it going? And they're like, we love this system. Like we love the fact that you enable us to
make a living.
Make a living, right?
Work from home.
And have an impact on the world. You'd be surprised how many people care about the fact that they're helping a company have better business listings.
Because they're used to doing maybe some bad behavior stuff that they don't like to do, like maybe calling people and trying to get them to sign up for something they don't want. It feels like they're doing something virtuous in a way.
Yeah.
So what's the state of the company? You were at the TechCrunch 50 conference, I guess, 3 years ago now. And the company was just getting started. It had a lot of great buzz around it. Have you raised money since?
Yeah, so we've raised a $5 million round 2 years ago, or I guess a year and a half ago, and then $7 million a couple months ago. And look at me, I'm wearing a suit now.
That's fancy stuff.
Yeah, we've
absolutely, but you still got the white socks on. So
no, come on, let's.
Oh, look at those.
Good, yeah, Argyle,
not bad. I like the Argyles. Okay, I thought they were white because I just saw the little white patch. Very good. Look at the classing you up with that venture capital money.
So we do enterprise. The thing that I didn't know at that day, and the big change in the business, is that we do mostly big ticket enterprise sales.
You thought you were going to get what kind of jobs?
I thought that we were going to go after the more SMB market.
Yeah.
Because it seems like this is an easier way to outsource. And what happened was companies really loved the fact that we could scale up bigger than any outsourcing company.
So it's like EC2 in a way.
Exactly.
You're like a human EC2.
Exactly.
So who are the investors? Who did you get to invest?
So we took money from Trinity and Bessemer.
Sure.
In the Series A, and then Harmony, which is the East Coast firm, led our Series B.
Very good.
Yeah.
And how many employees now do you have?
So we're about, 60 in the office, but
60 in the office, 60,000.
Yeah, more over 1 million.
Over 1 million people have done tasks for you. Unique people.
Unique people, yeah.
Wow. How many of those wind up getting actual money? Is that the majority of it, or is the majority of it people just getting game time?
I want to make sure I get it right, but it's around half.
Around here. So just ballpark 50-50.
Yeah.
Interesting. Where do you think the whole business is going? I mean, what's the future of crowdsourcing? What do you see more and more jobs going this way, and what does that mean for the future of employment? You know, anytime somebody does something creative in accomplishing a work task, the first thing people think of is protectionism. Oh my God, 99 Designs is going to destroy the market for designers. I don't think it has. It may have made them be more competitive. But what's the future of all this? Are we going to see like developing jobs where people say like, oh, write this feature, and you just put it into your system and everybody writes one line of code? I mean, what's going to happen?
Well, I think from 20,000 feet, mainly I focus on my company, but for all these companies here, right, from 20,000 feet, this is a more efficient system, right? I mean, really what you're doing is using the internet to match someone that wants something done with someone that wants to do it with really low friction, right? And so there's really no sense in building a big box and having everyone drive into it and having them be watched by a supervisor and having a second toilet, right? And even more than that, there's no sense in not letting people work if they're up in the middle of the night or, if they have a 15-minute break. And so we see this huge efficiency gain from that, right? And then there's all these details that are really hard, right? Like convincing companies is a good idea, making sure people do a good job.
And that the task actually works on the platform, because right now you work for task-based stuff, but as it gets complex, the system stops working currently.
Yes, that's right. But
what is the breaking point?
Well, so for us,
what's the task that you try to do that fails?
So for us right now, tasks have to have a really clear right answer. And that's just us. I mean, other people have better quality control systems that can do different types of things.
So you have to be able to definitively say the answer is X, Y, or Z.
Yeah, and so that's why we wouldn't make you a web page, because that's sort of like you kind of did like an okay job, but for us,
there's no perfect one answer of what the web page should look like.
Exactly. And so other companies are working on that, but I mean, it looks to me like the market for just where there's a clear right answer is really big. And so I think that actually mainly what we're doing is taking jobs from outsourcing companies and moving it to this more efficient model. So it actually could have the effect of bringing jobs back into the United States.
Right. Well, insourcing is a definitive trend. You have people in middle America, people outside of big cities generally, who, let's just say, like maybe those jobs, manufacturing, are gone. Maybe some of the service jobs are gone into India and whatever. And now they are going online to Mechanical Turk or other places and making something.
Yeah. So I think the only question here is crowdsourcing. I mean, I think this crowdsourcing method of sending jobs to people that you have less of a tight connection with and doing smart technology to do quality control, it's certainly going to happen. It might be outsourcing companies figure out how to do this, and it's just called outsourcing.
Yeah, of course those outsourcing companies are known for building a box with cubes in it and having draconian supervisors make you fill out TPS reports.
Yes, but they are really good at sales and they're really good at operations, right?
So they do have some expertise. What do you believe that in a global marketplace like this, people should be able to work for whatever amount they want? Or do you believe that there should be minimum wages set by local governments and, national governments? Or do you personally, believe that people should decide for themselves how much they get paid for their work?
It's a complicated question.
I loaded it up.
Yeah, so I think that, you can imagine a thought experiment where one person has all the resources and enslaves everyone.
Sure.
And so I think governments should prevent that, right?
Yes, enslavement out.
Right, yeah, so but sort of that's like, you can imagine that,
I feel like this is
right?
turning into a Bruno interview or something like that.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
not a good sign.
No, okay, so
we don't enslave people.
You don't
Tell your
enslave
audience,
people, right. You don't have a gun to people's head saying, tell me what tags this item on Amazon has.
But the great thing about digital work, right, is it's hard to trick people because you sort of have to show them getting the thing right as they do the work, right? Getting whatever they want, right?
You can't manipulate them.
It's hard to manipulate people, and it's hard to do the kinds of bad enforcing things, right? It's hard to threaten someone through a computer screen, right? So I'm hopeful that
there's a level of equity in the system. You think?
Well, I think it's just hard to really make a digital sweatshop. I think that the conditions of labor, just from the nature of this work, even without government intervention, which I'm mixed on, should improve. And so I feel hopeful that this will help people.
So should there be a minimum wage or not? I mean, you deal with this issue. What do you think?
I think there should be some minimum wage, but I don't think people should set the minimum wage based on what's a living wage or what's fair. Right. It should be how do we get companies to stay in business and employ the most people at the highest rate? And so that
maybe a little more fluidity in it.
Yeah, and not and I think not in this paternalistic sense of we want to set a minimum wage because it's only fair to pay people $20 an hour. And I think this more how do we actually help people by setting a minimum wage where there is if you set $1 an hour minimum wage, would all these companies go away? No. You know what I mean? But if you said it's $20 an hour, they would definitely go away.
And in your system, have people tried to price things, your clients tried to price things so low that people just don't show up?
Definitely.
And have they priced things so high that the work gets done at extraordinarily fast levels?
Absolutely.
So in some way in your system there are free market dynamics, you're telling me?
There are, yes. There are.
You can confirm the existence of free market dynamics.
We can, the price curves that you see in your econ class, we can draw those in reality, right? I mean,
really?
we do 100 million, we've done 100 million jobs, paid little tasks, right?
Tasks.
And we have the data on all this, how long it took to get done and how much they paid. I mean, some economists would go nuts with this
interesting
data.
Well, continued success with it.
Thank you.
And if people want to reach you, the best way is?
Lukas, with a K, Lukas at CrowdFlower.
Wow, awesome. Continued success, Lukas.
Thank you.
I'm very excited to see you guys continue to crush it after the event.
Appreciate it.
Okay, we'll have more interviews at today's Crowdsortium event here at the Googleplex, coming to you after this message from our wonderful sponsors.